have Unit 1, Careers in Psychology. So psychology is the second most popular college major in the United States. First would be business. Recent data shows that annually we have more than 88,000 psychology majors that graduate from U.S. colleges and universities. If you chose to work more directly in the field of psychology, a bachelor's degree will qualify you to work as an assistant to psychologists, researchers, or other professionals in the community mental health centers, vocational rehabilitation offices, or correctional programs. A second option for psychology majors after graduation is to pursue a graduate degree in psychology. Approximately 42% of U.S. psychology majors go on to graduate school in psychology. A third option would be to pursue advanced training in other disciplines such as law, business, education, or medicine. Other administrative occupations: insurance, securities, real estate, business services, other marketing and sales occupations, registered nurses, pharmacists, therapists, or physician's assistant. And number 10 being accountants. Their doctoral degrees in psychology. The largest employment growth areas for doctoral graduates have been in the for-profit and self-employment sectors. To date, the American Psychological Association, APA, has formed 56 divisions, and it is a very long list, but some of these divisions that require a graduate degree in psychology would be exercise and sports psychology, addictions, trauma psychology, and so on. Clinical psychologists promote psychological health in individuals, groups, and organizations. Some clinical psychologists specialize in specific psychological disorders. Clinical psychologists might engage in research, teaching, assessment, and consultation, and they work in a variety of settings, including private practice, mental health service organizations, schools, universities, industries, legal systems, medical systems, counseling centers, government agencies, and also military services. To become a clinical psychologist, you will need to earn a doctorate degree from a clinical psychology program. Cognitive psychologists are next, and they study the thought process and focus on such topics as perception, language, attention, problem solving, memory, judgment, decision making, forgetting, and also intelligence. As a cognitive psychologist, you might work as a professor, industrial consultant, or human factor specialist in an educational or business setting. Community psychologists move beyond focusing on specific individuals or families and deal with broad problems of mental health in a community setting. These psychologists believe that human behavior is powerfully influenced by the interaction between people and their physical, social, political, and also our economic environments that we're in. Community psychologists focus on prevention, promotion of positive mental health, and crisis intervention, with special attention to the problems of undeserved groups or ethnic minorities. Counseling psychologists, they help people to adjust to life transitions or to make a lifestyle change. This field is very similar to clinical psychology, except the counseling psychologists typically help people with adjustment problems rather than severe psychopathology, Like clinical psychologists, counseling psychologists also conduct therapy and provide assessments to individuals and groups. As a counseling psychologist, you would emphasize your client's strengths, helping clients cope during a transitional time using their own skills, interests, and abilities. As with clinical psychology, if you plan to work in independent practice, you will also need to obtain a state license to provide counseling services to the public. Next is developmental psychologists, and they can conduct research in age-related behavioral changes and apply their scientific knowledge to educational, childcare, policy, and related settings. You would investigate change across a broad range of topics, including the biological, social, psychological, and cognitive aspects of development. You would probably specialize in behavior during infancy, childhood, adolescence, or middle or late adulthood. Educational psychologists study the relationship between learning and our physical and social environments. They study the psychological processes involved in learning and develop strategies for enhancing the learning process. You might conduct basic research on topics related to learning or to develop innovative methods of teaching to enhance the learning process. Experimental psychologists, so they pretty much just investigate a variety of basic behavioral processes in research involving humans or other animals. And prominent areas of study in experimental research include comparative method of science, motivation, learning, thought, attention, memory, perception, and also language. Let's see, forensic psychologists, which I'm interested in because I want to be in law enforcement, they apply psychological principles to legal issues. They conduct research on the interface of law and psychology and help to create public policies related to mental health, help law enforcement agencies in criminal investigations, or also they assist forensic consultation involving jury selection and deliberation research. Some forensic psychologists hold law degrees and provide clients with legal services as well, which could be beneficial. As a forensic psychologist, you might work in a university psychology department, law school, research organization, community mental health agency, law enforcement agency, court, or also a correctional setting. Health psychologists. They are researchers and practitioners concerned with psychology's contribution to promoting health and preventing disease. So these people, they help individuals lead a healthier lifestyle by designing, conducting, and evaluating programs that may help them with things such as losing weight, stop smoking, to manage pain, improve sleep, and so on. They identify conditions and practices associated with health and illness to create effective interventions. Next is industrial organizational psychologists, and they study the relationship between people and their work environments. Their interests include organizational structure and change, consumer behavior, and personal selection and training. Neuropsychologists investigate the relationship between neurological processes, which is the structure and function of our brain, and behavior. As a neuropsychologist, you would assess or diagnose or treat disorders related to the CNS, such as Alzheimer's disease or also a stroke. Psychometric and quantitative psychologists. They study the methods and techniques used to acquire psychological knowledge. A psychometrician may update existing neurocognitive or personality tests or devise new tests for use in clinical and school settings or in business and industries. Rehabilitation psychologists are researchers and practitioners who work with people who have lost optional functioning after an accident, illness, or another event that could have occurred. As a rehabilitation psychologist, you'd probably work in a medical rehabilitation institute or a hospital. School psychologists, they are involved in helping in the intervention for children and adolescents in the educational system or settings. They diagnose and treat cognitive, social, and emotional problems that may negatively influence learning or overall functioning at school. Social psychologists are interested in our interactions with others. Social psychology just study how our beliefs, feelings, and behaviors are affected by and influenced by other people that we surround ourselves with. And they study topics such as attitudes, aggression, prejudice, interpersonal attraction, group behavior, and also leadership. Next is a sports psychologist, which you would study the psychological factors that influence and are influenced by participation in sports and also other physical activities. So competition for the openings for advanced degrees in psychology are very important. If you plan to go to graduate school after college, there are a number of things you can do in advance to maximize your chances of getting into the school that is your top choice. The first step is definitely to take full advantage of your opportunities in high school by enrolling in challenging elective courses such as psychology, for me anyways. Working hard to develop an academic skill set, and that'll definitely help you pave the way to success in college. So we also have some other tips, which are to network your first year, membership benefits, become actively involved in research as early as possible, and volunteer or get a job in the psychology-related field, and also maintain good grades. Those are all very important if you want to continue